the Bible is telling us there's more than one God to be worshipped. Right? So, that's number one. You hit it right on the point. That the Most High is saying, out of all the gods in the earth, you ought to worship me. I'm separating myself strictly for you. Right? The second commandment is what?
Thou shalt not make any graven images.
Thou shalt not make any graven images. Right? Give me, what's an example of that?
Well, you get icons in the Roman Catholic Church, for example.
Oh,
Where they
okay.
have the pictures of the saints, or they have the pictures of Christ.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images.
And they pray to it and worship.
How they make images of Christ when he says you cannot make anything from the heaven or in the earth or under the sea and worship it, right?
That's right.
Right? Like the Catholic Church is doing, right? Give me another example of that. Making a graven image.
The stone that the Muslims worship.
The Kaaba stone. That's another example of that. Give me an example of something that. Give me an example of one that's not widely known that people might do unknowingly. Huh?
Christmas tree.
The Christmas tree to some, yeah, that links into that because inadvertently they're bowing to get the gifts. But give me one that most people would do regularly and don't even know they're doing.
Like young teenagers, they might have a poster of a certain band they love, like the Stars. So they kind of like.
That's a perfect example. Making an image or a god of, don't forget they call stars idols.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they bow down to people and they worship them. That's one. We shouldn't do that. That's why they call them stars.
Mm.
What else? Do you know that it's wrong to actually worship the dead?
Oh, yeah.
You ever see how the Chinese people, they'll make a shrine
Oh, yeah.
and have dead people in front of them and they're worshiping it?
Their ancestor worship. Necromancy.
Yeah. Or making a shrine yourself.
With
And
animals in it.
whatever's up in there, and now you're using this for some type of, that all falls into involuntary worship of angels. I'm going to go into it in a moment. What's the next one? What's the next commandment?
Thou shalt not take the most high power in vain.
How would you take the Most High in vain?
Is that linked into when you swear an oath to the Most High and you don't perform it?
That's one. You swear an oath to the Most High, or you make a covenant with the Most High and break it.
Or is it something else to where you're saying, well, I swear to God?
You're not supposed to do that either. You're not supposed to swear on heaven, in heaven, on anything in heaven or on earth. That's taking the Most High's name in vain. Also,
That's just another one. Could
Go
it
ahead.
be that you say you believe in the Most High, and you put that out there, and then your lifestyle reflects the opposite to what you're saying you're doing?
yes, presenting the Most High or walking with the Most High, but actions are counter to what the Most High name represents.
Yes.
That's also that's another point. What we have here: blasphemy. Don't perform rituals. False preachers. Well, hey, the brothers and sisters they got other things out there that's pretty good too. All right, what's the next commandment?
Remember the Sabbath day?
Yeah, no,
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Okay, give me an example of that. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy.
Not doing your own personal business.
Yeah. And to do what on the Sabbath day?
Rest.
Rest. You can rest. At least you'll be keeping it, right? Huh? Don't serve our own will. Don't be all out there in the world operating with the world. You understand? Another example of remembering the Sabbath and keeping it holy is what we're doing right now, congregating together. You understand? Because Christ warned us, pray that your flight be not on the Sabbath, neither in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. So it's important that we're together so that whenever things go down, we'll be prepared and in the right mind on that day. So it's best to be congregating and together and not out and not away from the body. And for those that don't have a congregation, it's best that they stay in prayer and not dealing with the world on the Sabbath. What's the next one?
Honor thy father, thy mother.
Honor thy what?
Father and thy mother.
Honor thy father and thy mother. You got a lot going there. Honor thy father and thy mother. Now give me an example of honoring your father and your mother. Anyone?
Showing respect for them even when you think they're wrong or whatever. Just showing respect.
Showing respect even if you think they're wrong. And I'm glad you brought that out, Azel, because in the world today in which they're trying to, use character defamation on family, I see a lot of people out there willing to call their mother or father out publicly and just put their business out in the world concerning their family. Saying that I was raised a certain type of way, my mother wasn't there for me, or my father wasn't and they put it out there publicly, not even knowing that they're dishonoring their mother and father. Why? Because the Bible tells you about discretion fattens the family's bones. It's that discretion that keeps the honor of the family. And some people say we need to talk about it and get it out, and you're not supposed to talk your private business in public with other people. That's dishonoring your family. Even if things didn't go right, because what family didn't have some type of issues in this earth? But you still keep the integrity of your mother and father. And we have to learn things, because why? With our mother and father, we only get one. We only get one. And the perfect example I can give is and may the Lord bless his soul. My father is no longer with me. But any stories you hear that I may tell any of you about my father are all the honorable stories that I can remember. Now, there's things I know about him in his nakedness that only I know because I'm his son. But I'm not supposed to, smear my father. That's between us. These are the things that made our family close. The things that I seen of him that no one else will know about. These intimate moments. And I see so many times some people will talk about their mother. I hear it. This online thing is crazy. Because so many people would disrespect their mother or father. And it's out there, and it's totally disrespectful. We only get one. And if we will disrespect our parents, no matter, because they have faults, then what's to stop us from honoring our Father in heaven? Or disrespecting the Holy Spirit, which is, in Scripture, our mother in heaven. You understand? So we should always keep the integrity of our father and mother. And I noticed that the majority of us do it without even knowing it. Because the world teaches us to just spew. They tell you that's healthy.
Express yourself.
To express what someone have done to you. When it comes to your mother and father. And if you magnify the negative, I'll tell you now, you would tend to minimize all the positives that your father and mother brought to you, that made you the person you are, that led you to the truth, that led you to the Most High. But they would like you to magnify the negative because they looking to destroy family. Oh, I was abused, or I was this, my dad wasn't. Listen, your dad had you. Your dad brought you to this earth. Your dad did what he knew was right so that you wouldn't go through the things he went through. He didn't have all the tools, but he still loved you. See, we should always use these things as honor for our mother and father at all times. We need to honor them. Even if there's things that we deal with, knowing that, okay, he wasn't perfect here, he wasn't perfect there, he didn't have the knowledge of this, but I have the knowledge of it now. And I understood he didn't know better there. But I'm not going to smear him before the world or smear my mother before strangers. We must honor our father and mother at all times. Without them, we wouldn't be here. The Most High used him as a vessel to bring us in this earth. And what greater honor can we give someone? How can we deny the people that gave us life? That the Most High used to give us life? Does that not trump everything else? And I'm putting that out there, and I wanted to just magnify that, even though we're going into other things today. I was looking at something today, early this morning, and I seen how it's nothing in this earth for people to just smear their parents all the time. And they think it's good to just, and I remember growing up, you couldn't do that. Now, other nations out there, you would hear their children calling them names and cursing at them and all that, and you knew not to do that amongst us.
Oh, God. Begin to hurt.
Mommy, you did. Other nations do that. But we didn't tolerate that. Now, I see that's happening amongst Israel now. Where you think you can call your mother a name and all this and just down talk. The Most High is looking seriously on that. That's total disrespect. You should always think of the good times. They gave you life. You mean to tell me your whole life he was just going upside your head and abusing you or knocking you down, or she was just cursing you out your whole life? You didn't have no good times in your family? You never hear that. Everyone want to talk about the bad stuff. The stuff that makes you melancholy, the stuff that makes you down or makes you sad. So they want everyone to be victims. Why? Because you know what because they know something. When you dishonor your parents, you dishonor yourself. You lower yourself when you dishonor your parents. They know that. Why? Because you don't have no legacy now to move to your children. You don't have no good stories to tell your children. You done destroyed your own legacy. You done destroyed your own legacy. So you must keep, and I noticed, and I thank the Most High for a father who was able to tell me all the good things, all the struggles, the civil rights and all that, and all the things he went through. Was he perfect? No one is perfect. But he instilled things in me that made me want to fight for my people. You understand? So that's very important, because that shaped the work that we're doing now, that I'm doing. And I look back at it and I'm like, it was the Most High. The Most High is in our parents. He's in our parents, because once you have a child, a certain love, you change. And you learn to love based on that child. The Most High is in our parents. And that's the point that we need to always hold to when we think of all the negative stuff. Without them, there would be no me. They want us to be self-centered. They want us to hate our parents so that there's no legacy to move to the next generation. They don't want a legacy. Right? What's the next one? Thou shalt not kill. Now,
That's not quite right.
things are killed all the time. I mean, when you rip some potatoes out of the ground, there's no more life in them. When you cooking them up, you kill things all the time to eat. So the correct word for kill
Should be murder.
is murder. Thou shalt not murder. Okay, now give me an example of murder.
Hating your brother.
Huh?
Hating your brother.
He hit it right on. I was waiting for a new way of dealing with it. So to get to what he said, and he hit it right on the point. People think that murder is strictly taking a knife to someone and just killing them and making it final. Believe me, murders first begins where?
In the thought realm,
In the
soul
heart.
realm, and you manifest it physically.
Because Christ says if you hate your brother, you've already committed the murder. Because it's the heart, it's what you feel against your brother that leads to an opportunity to say, you know what? I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill her.
Cain and Abel again.
Cain and Abel. When Christ told them, you are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. You were a murderer in the beginning. From Christ was still living. They didn't kill Christ yet. So how were they murderers? Because the same poison that was in Cain's heart against Abel's was in his own brother. And you know what? It starts with no appreciation for life. It starts with envy, jealousy, hatred, all the things they teach us that's normal in this earth. Instead of appreciating what the Most High has given us, we have jealousy, hatred, and we start looking at other people. Oh, he or she thinks she's better than us. Do you know that's murder? He or she is like this, or he or she is like that. Do you know that's murder? And see what? Satan separated Cain slowly and started working on him. Oh, why didn't he accept your sacrifice? All that work you did to grow your vegetations and he gets you alone. You start, yeah, that's right. And you start thinking in your mind, you're right. You know what? I know I'm going to get my honor. How are you going to respect Abel once he's dead? And that's what goes on amongst brethren, sisters. We start looking at each other and try to find something in a person to hate them. And sometimes we don't even know. We think we just talk about people and do certain things and don't even know that leads to murder. Right? What's the next one?
Thou shalt not commit adultery.
Thou shalt not commit adultery. Give me the example of that.
Trying to get with someone else's wife.
Get with someone else's wife. That's a perfect example. Another example.
Going away from the Most High.
Dealing with other gods is a form of spiritual fornication. I'm going to hit someone with adultery that people didn't even think was adultery. What's that?
Because isn't the one where Christ says, if you lust after a woman, even in your heart,
If you lust after a woman,
you've
even
already committed adultery.
you have committed adultery in your heart. And you know what? That links, and I'm glad you brought that out, because a lot of people don't know, because it's so prevalent in our society today.
Normal, isn't it, to this? Yeah.
Especially online and all this, people don't even know pornography is fornication, is adultery. Pornography is adultery.
But doesn't the scripture say no adulterer will inherit the kingdom of heaven?
Exactly. Now I'm just using that, I'm pointing that out as an example, because Christ says if you lust for someone in your heart, you've already committed the act. And see, Satan, he's a sorcerer. He understands that with these TVs and with the internet and with all these things, he understands how to draw people in, because when you see these things, you are participating. You are an actual participant in the act. You become that man. She becomes that woman, because that's what you are imagining. And as your heart is, so is you. You are actually in that act. Satan is drawing everyone in to adultery and fornication and sin. It's just not no normal entertainment. And that's why they're making it ready, available online, which you can see anything you want, because they're drawing you in. Because when the opportunity arises, you're going to act out what's in your mind. You're going to do the act. So you've already lost. The first thing is to actually, Satan is to get the desire in you to do it.
Scripture says you're drawn away by your own lust.
Exactly. But you cannot, don't forget, like children, you're innocent. You can only do what you are exposed to or have education of or have knowledge of. So if you didn't learn these certain things, you would have no education. You wouldn't have no knowledge to do them.
You wouldn't have any awareness of it.
Exactly. So there's many levels of fornication and all that. what I'm saying, I'm going through these commandments, and I want to give different aspects of it, based on the fact that some of us in this earth do things just by habit or how we were taught or in our society, what we've learned, and don't even know. When we think of adultery, we think of one thing. We think of stealing, we think of one thing. But we never look into what leads to all these. And you notice the Most High, even though we have all these laws out there, we have all these commandments out there, that he gave the 10 in Exodus. Because if you follow these 10, you're not breaking any of them. All the other law is void. Because if you love the Most High and keep his commandments like he says and honor him, you're not, what good is a dietary law? You know you're only going to eat clean foods. You understand? You know you're not going to eat pork and all that. Because you see the clean foods that the Most High gave us for sacrifice. So the dietary law is out the window. You look at the foods the Most High, who we honor, gave us. That's the food we eat. We don't even have to know what the unclean animals are. You understand? So everything surrounds these 10. And to keep them and practice these first. And I'm saying that because usually when it comes to being a Hebrew and find out you're Israel, we want to look at all the cultural aspects and what to put on and how to be different than everyone else to get some uniqueness or individualism. Being that for years, that's what we were deprived. Understandable. That's understandable. But still, if you concentrate on those 10 and learn to perfect those 10, everything else becomes easy. Right? Finish reading. You got it? Come on. What's the next commandment?
Thou shalt not bear false witness.
Thou shalt not bear.
Oh, that's not steal, sorry.
Say that again.
Thou shalt not steal.
Thou shalt not steal. Give me an example of stealing.
Taking something that's not doing them,
Yeah.
somebody else's.
Here's an example that people don't even know is an example of stealing. Do you know stealing is taking credit for someone else's work? That's stealing.
That's copyright.
Yeah, but see, they put copyrights in place strictly, you understand, but it's dishonorable to take someone else's work or someone else's stuff. Because the Most High gave us the gifts of our hands to get through life. And I'm just giving examples outside of what we would normally see. Of course, you're not supposed to you go in somebody's house and take something out of their house. That's simple stealing. Everyone know about that. But stealing is on so many levels. Trying to take credit for someone else's work. Trying to take from someone else. Or here's another thing that's stealing. And I'm going to tell you straight out. Making a covenant, an agreement, and don't pay it.
As a license to fire.
It's like this. If I make an agreement, if I see that you got to work, or you have a work, or you have a work, or you have a work, and I prosper I help you in your work, you're supposed to pay me according to my work. You can't say that you're not going to pay me after I help you. And we agree that this is what it's going to be. That's stealing. We must be honorable amongst each other and keep our covenants, or it's stealing. Okay? That's just what it is. So we have to be honorable in our covenants and not steal from brothers and sisters. Because I'm going to tell you, in the truth, and I'm going to put this out there amongst the whole world, in the truth, sometimes you just expect people just to do things for you just because we're in the truth. And you do get that. You will get a lot of that. where you'll get help strictly from brothers and sisters because we're brothers and sisters. But still, if a brother is working, same way when you look in us in the Old Testament, you had families that did a certain thing. You had the Levites that did the priesthood. All these things took payment. Okay, 10% go to them. All right, you had a family where they stayed unclean and all they did was deal with the dead. There was a payment for them. You had families that dealt with gardens and all that. But it kept the system going. You couldn't have someone, oh, we all Israel up in here, so I'm not going to pay you for your vegetables. Oh, you the priest, but I'm not going to give you the 10% because we all Israel. So how can a nation run if we can't first practice that amongst us? If someone agree to something and someone do something for you, you must pay. And I do this all the time because some people say, okay, elder, no, you don't got to do that. No, you the elder. No. How much do it cost for that? And I'll pay the money for it. How much do it cost for that? All right. Because I want to empower spiritually our brothers and sisters to do the work and know that we will help each other. I don't want no gifts strictly because I'm teaching the word. A just weight for a just measure. So when someone do a work, I pay it. Or I'll start feeling entitled. That ain't right. I'm not entitled. I must pay my wage just like everyone else. Or I'm stealing. Okay? So I'm just giving some examples of the law that we probably didn't even look into. A just weight for a just measure. If someone help you, you pay it. That's your respect. Okay. I honor your gift. I honor what you brought to me. Okay. I honor the works of your hand that the Most High blessed you with to help me. So I'm going to honor that. I don't want to pass. I don't get a pass just because we all Israel. Okay. What's next? Oh, here we go. Boy, I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but I mean, I can be about 3 hours on this one. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Another perfect example of what can we say? Give me an example of bearing false witness against thy neighbor.
Saying something that's not true. Lying.
Spreading rumors that are not substantiated by fact.
Spreading rumors that is not substantiated with any fact. Just saying it because you heard it someplace else. The Most High will give account on that. You will actually have to pay on that. Saying something to someone else, second or third hand, that was given to you, being a talebearer or receiving information like the scriptures say, having itching ears.
Looking for gossip.
People, there's many reasons people do it. Some people do it just to smear someone, or to have someone look at a person the way they would want to view them. You understand? Or just say subtle things to make someone suspect of another person. That's bearing false witness. Straight off. You can't bear false witness against you. I know people that I've never met. That I've met one time, or I speak to them on the phone, or they call, and I'm giving myself as an example. And they tell me a long list of stuff that people then told them that I'm like, what? What is this? I'm like, yeah. I mean, I had one conversation, and I think me and Lawyer was laughing about it, that I'm living in 2 mansions.
Where's you and Mike?
It was me and Mike, right? Well, yeah, myself and Mike.
I was there too.
I'm living in 2 mansions.
Got 10 cars.
I have 10 cars. And one of my mansions, I got a harem of women, all up in one of my mansions. Now I'm saying that's extreme. That's extreme, but you have to realize this was conversation amongst Hebrews. And everybody here laughing. You know what I mean? It's utterly ridiculous. Exactly. But I'm sitting there listening to this, and the person say, well, yeah. But this is, even though it's young and youthful, I'm just giving you an example of some of the stuff. And I'm just sitting there answering the phone calls and doing certain things, and it was like, yeah, I would like to be with your church in here, but I just want to straighten a few things out that's going on around amongst the Hebrew community. I'm like, get off Facebook, get off Threads. What is this? But that's just extreme. So let's talk about the small part of bearing false witness. Anyone, an example. Bearing false witness.
Does bearing false witness, does that go into what Christ said, where if someone offends you, you're supposed to go to them and then alone, but you don't do that?
That's another way. That's directly into Christ, where he says, if someone have a fault with a brother, you go to them and them alone. That's the perfect example. Because why? Your perception could be incorrect. But you want to bounce that off of someone else. No correction have come on either part. You can be wrong. But yet you're going to go to another brother or sister and say, well, yeah, he or she did this to me, and it ain't right. And you didn't even go to the brother or sister yet. When it could come out that you were wrong. So you're bearing lies on a brother or sister. You bearing false witness and straight lies on brothers and sisters. I'm going to tell you, that's what's going on all amongst Israel, all with the world. Because why? They trying to totally break us as a people. And I'm looking at what I see online and all that, and how it's okay to just say anything you want about other people. I mean, if you can lie and bear false witness and cheat, you get a reality show. You can just put out your business on your mother, father, sister, and now here it is. You have some sodomites operating in the background who hate the Most High, just stirring it up so that we think this is normal. Well, you know who's working in the background of all these shows. We need more friction. We need more fighting. We need a cat fight. Who's back there? Who's producing? Sodomites. They want to see you hate and go at each other so that now we can look at this and say, is this the example of family? And then everything we see on them is them being abused and them not being treated right, or them smiling and laughing and joking. It's all happy. That's why they took the term gay. To represent them, so that they'll be presented as good at the end, and we be miserable and just going at each other, hating each other. Turned everything upside down. And I'm just giving that as an example because that's what happens. We learn to bear false witness, and brothers and sisters don't even know that they do it on Threads, they do it on Facebook, they do it on whatever, just because it's this entertainment value or your 15 minutes of fame, not even realizing that we're breaking the covenants. That's what we do. And see, Satan set up a serious box in which we can do things anonymously and think that there's no repercussion, and think that there's no judgment for our actions. Satan set it up perfectly so you think you're by yourself while doing it.
Made it too easy.
He made it easy to sin. And the great thing about it is being anonymous, thinking that you're not going to have to see a judge on all these things. It's what they do. So you can put out any lie you want, and whatever the case is online, no face to it or nothing. Right? Excuse me. Can I get a tea? Thank you. I appreciate it. Go ahead. What's the next one? What's the next one?
Thou shalt not covet.
Thou shalt not covet what is thy neighbor's. It says covet what? Your neighbor's, any property that belongs to your neighbors, you should not covet after it. Give me an example of that.
You want to see something, they desire to get it.
Everything you see other people with, you want. And I'm going to tell you how this gets real bad. When you begin to want not what they have to get yourself, you want what they have. Period. You want what they have. Instead of, when the Most High wants us to look within ourselves and develop our own with Him. He don't want us to follow other people in what they're doing. He wants us to love Him, and He increase us the way our family have agreed. Not what we see in this world. They got a big refrigerator, the big silver refrigerator. Let me go get this big silver refrigerator. Or no, you know what I mean? Everything is copycat now. No one is unique. No one is spiritual and connected to the Most High. Everyone is, and then you're starting to be held to standards. That's unfair. People come to you and say, well, listen, you may get pressure from your husband or wife. Well, they got that. Why don't we get that? They doing this, so why can't we? Do you know that that's all the spirit of covetousness? What's wrong with just appreciating what the Most High gave you, and you make an agreement to build your family outside of what you see, outside of the world and what it's trying to feed you? What they claim is the epitome of what a family or the American dream is. You understand?
What's the
And here's another problem, coveting. This is how you covet someone. I'm going to tell you another thing. When it says coveting what belongs to your neighbor, that's why it start pointing out things, right? It start pointing out their property. Here's another example, and I put this out there all the time. A brother come into someone's house and talking to the woman. And this happens because this shouldn't be. Where friends are so close now that the woman have become friends with her girlfriend's husband, or vice versa. Now someone can come in and talk to someone's wife and say, you know what? That brother, he gotta start treating you right. I keep telling him we be out, and he treat you like, man, I'm telling you, he gonna lose you. What's wrong with this? Y'all laughing, brothers and sisters. This is normal stuff. But you'll see it all the time, where brothers will come into someone and say, man, or there's a dispute, and she see the look on your face, and you sitting there like, and I've seen it in the past, where a brother be in there and he be like, and he be there in front of your woman talking about, man, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just saying. So we have to be careful how we operate in other people's house. Because why? It leads to that woman thinking that there's another man appreciating her and understand her. Or vice versa. And it goes into him not wanting to find someone that's nice like you have. He want your woman. Or she want your husband. Coveted.
Just so I can understand.
Yes.
What exactly does that word covet mean? The proper definition.
Covet is an inordinate desire.
Like
A real want. It's lust.
There you go.
It's lust. Yes, it's lust.
So that means there's a spirit behind it.
Inordinate desire.
So there's a
Yes.
spirit behind it.
It's a wanting spirit. And it leads to all the commandments being broken. It leads to adultery. It leads to murder. It leads to stealing. It leads to all the things the Most High said. It'll lead to bearing false witness. All that.
So let me read this real quick.
Yes,
Romans,
sir.
Romans 7:7.
Yes.
What shall we say then? Is the law sin? God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin but by the law. For I had not known lust except the law had said, thou shalt not covet. So let's give you the definition for coveting, which is lust.
Lust.
Romans 7:7.
Yeah. You got that? What's the next one? That's it.
So,
Now, I didn't mean to go too deep into that because there's other things I want to read on real quick. But it's important that we understand these commandments and how it embodies the whole law. Yes, sir.
Just to make it clear, right? So, coveting is when you want someone else's things or someone else's.
Yes.
Not wanting something in general.
Not wanting something in general. You can see, like for instance, some people play games or something. You see somebody say, yeah, this new game came out. You played it, but like, yeah, I want that.
Yeah.
That's not coveting because you don't have no, but it's another thing when you sitting there plotting on this guy's game. You understand? Like, you know, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to see if I can, how I can get him get this from him. Yeah. I'm just giving you just some examples. Thank you. One more thing, because I want to put it out there, and I hope this clear a few things up too, when it comes to adultery. You notice we're living in a time now that even though people don't physically make a covenant like they should with family, they're in relationships. And some single brother or single sister may meet someone and ask, are you married? And they say, well, you know, I'm going through something right now, or I'm single, but I'm going through something right now. Leaving a crack open for you to come in. You understand? Because you're like, okay, they're not on good terms or whatever the case is. But in the world, that's normal. That she or he can decide, well, because we having problems here, I'm going to leave that alone. And I can deal with you now. That's adultery. Flat out.